Open Your Eyes is brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.
And welcome to Open Your Eyes.
Start your morning right.
I'm April Martinez.
And I'm Paul Lopez.
And good morning, Belize. Thank you so much for joining us on this wet, rainy Monday. Yeah. Okay, first of all, I'm not gonna lie. I love the fact that it's been raining consecutively for the past 2 days or so.
It has.
We needed it. We absolutely needed it. But of course, without any kind of prediction, we knew that it was going to come with some flooding, Paul.
Yeah, well, we are officially in the hurricane season, April. That's, as a matter of fact, our Belizeans know that as soon as it hits June, we can begin to expect some rains. And that's exactly what we're getting right now. It is anticipated to be an above average hurricane season, and we are already seeing the effects of that in terms of the amount of rains.
A lot of rain in the north, and it's coming down, and there has been a lot of flooding in the Belize district.
It's quite uncommon to me, first of all, to see that level of water in Chetumal.
Oh, really?
Let's start there. Yeah, I don't know that I have seen it before. Perhaps I haven't paid that much attention to it. But what we are looking at on the screen, or what we saw before, was at least 2 feet of water that these vehicles have had to drive through, that people have had to walk through with their bicycles. We know Chetumal to be one of those neighboring communities that a lot of Belizeans visit on a regular basis, and one would imagine that with all the flooding, a lot of Belizeans perhaps decided, and wisely so, to remain at home over the weekend. But man, that's a lot of rain, and I think it has something to do with a system that has been percolating in the area over the last few days. I've been following the weather news just briefly here and there over the weekend, and so this is the effects of that in Chetumal. And so even when we have conversations about, oh, Belize City flooding and this area in Belize flooding, well, look at Chetumal, with much more advanced infrastructures in terms of development, way more developed, way more business, way more commerce, and a lot of these areas seem to be familiar areas. At least I saw one area, it seems to be a path to Bodega near the mall that I would have walked on several occasions, and to imagine or picture the fact that you can't really walk in that area over the weekend, or you couldn't walk in the area over the weekend, for me was quite a surprise. And then I saw images coming out of the mall as well that we frequent.
That one I didn't see before. So I have been in Chetumal where it has flooded to this level, and I mean, we don't really talk about it that much, but this is of course due to effects of climate change. Last year we had some researchers come to the University of Belize, I believe sometime in October, and they were talking about exactly this, the infrastructure of Chetumal, the layout, and the poor engineering systems of their drains. And so now with the effects of climate change, the flooding is getting drastically worse.
Yeah.
And now we're seeing it here, because I've never seen the mall flooded out in the way we have seen in some of the pictures, but I have seen Chetumal flooded, walked in Chetumal flooded, driving at Chetumal flooded, and it's a little bit worse than when Belize City gets flooded out. So this is not new to Chetumal. However, it seems that it is getting worse.
That's the image from the mall in Chetumal, Plaza
de las Americas.
And reports are that a portion of the roof actually fell in, and that is the effects or the results of that. But then you have to understand that Belize is neighboring Chetumal as much as that is Mexico, and so when they feel these levels of rain, we are also affected because when you look at these forecasts and rains and these storm systems, you have to look at it at scale. It's not just, oh, it rained over Chetumal with these large bodies of storm system. It actually affects Belize as well, and in this case, we saw the effects in northern Belize over the weekend by way of August Pine Ridge. Yesterday, following hours and hours of rain, we saw that a lot of flooding was taking place in August Pine Ridge. Now, this is not the first time we are reporting on the level of flooding in August Pine Ridge, and in fact in that Orange Walk district area, because it seems as every time we get heavy rains in the Orange Walk district, you have communities that are affected, communities that are flooded. Well, on an annual basis, we have these reports.
Agreed. And we saw, I don't know about other parts of Belize as yet, but I know for like the Belize district, last night up until this morning, it was thundering, it was lightning. It hasn't actually stopped raining. And so we're seeing that it's coming. And it's quite interesting, Paul, because we just got through one of the worst droughts I think we've seen in a while. And now we know that this rainy season is going to be one of the worst. We're expecting that it's going to be just like what we're seeing on our screen right now.
The good thing about what happens in these communities, and I say to use the word good loosely, is that after the rains, the water usually runs off really quickly. And so in most cases, when we receive reports or news of this level of flooding, by the time if the rain stops, by the time we leave Belize City and reach in these areas, the water had already subsided significantly, and that happens in a lot of cases. But I always question, why is it that we know this happens on an annual basis, yet minimal is done to address it or to prepare for this level of damage caused by flooding and even losses in some cases, because annually we report on people losing their valuables as a result of these floodings. And this is only the start, April, because this is just June. This is the beginning of the rainy season. And so I think it's time we seriously consider the integrity of our infrastructure, whether it's road infrastructure, drain infrastructure, to kind of bring some level of safety and confidence to people and residents in these areas, so that the effects or the damages are minimal. This morning, we woke up to news of flooding in the Belize district now, and this is in Mahogany Heights, and this is only preliminary reports coming out of Mahogany Heights that overnight rains caused significant flooding in that area.
Well, you know, Paul, I hear you and I understand, but I think as Belizeans and as individuals, it's our responsibility to prepare. If you are somebody that has been living in an area for the past 5 years where you know that this is the effect, it's the dry season, things around you burn, everything around you burn, and then afterwards it starts to rain. You know it's going to get flooded. You live in a basin type of situation. You have to prepare. You understand this. You know you have to prepare. You see the rains that are coming, start to put your furniture up, start to put your appliances up. Those are the things that we have to prepare for. And it's going to get worse. We talk about climate change on a daily basis. We can't just use the term loosely. We have to take it seriously.
Anyways, this is the early effects of the above average hurricane season, and it's the rains knocking at our doors, telling us get your act together and be prepared. But talking about flooding, one Belizean American has been flooding our timelines for her achievement at the Tony Awards. In fact, reports are that two Belizeans, or at least individuals with Belizean heritage or Belizean connections, but the one we're talking about this morning is Cara Young. We've actually talked to Cara Young in our newscast when she received her first Tony Award nomination. That was a few years back, I think 2 or 3 years back. And last night, at the 77 Tony Awards, she won the award for Best Featured Actress in a Play.
Yes.
And so there she is.
Congratulations.
That is
to Miss
Cara
Cara.
Young. She isn't actually from Belize in terms of being born in Belize, isn't native to Belize in that sense, but both her parents are from Belize, migrated to the US, and that's where she basically was groomed into this theater industry. Now, I'm super proud of this achievement and super proud of her work, especially last night when I saw her picture next to other names like Alicia Keys and these huge celebrities. She was right there, not only as a winner, but somebody who ensures that she remembers her Belizean heritage, and she reminds people of that.
For our viewers that don't know, the Tony Awards are for those that are most in theater, so not necessarily film or music per se, but these are persons that are acting in a drama, live action. You go in, you see them in action and so forth. And I have a lot of respect for the theater. I don't know if you've ever been to a drama or a play or a musical in person, but that is, you can't, it's like doing the show live, right? There is no way you can stop and cut and edit or anything like that. You are just doing this, and you have to do it so well and execute it flawlessly, and not just one time, but like 3 times for a weekend. And it's super, I don't know, it's very amazing. I always give my respect to those that are in the theater, because that is a lot of work. So kudos to Miss Cara Young. I think this was her 3rd nomination, and she finally won.
Our only request is that now, if possible, she's not has any obligations, but to bring that talent to Belize. If you know one thing about Belizeans, we love acting.
We have a whole department.
We love theatrics. And so as a result, I think she could add value to what we have here. She's not obligated, so this is not me saying, oh, you've achieved.
No, I hear you, but you know what? It's one of those things that we aspire, right? Especially if you are somebody in the theater here and you are trying to get a leeway or a breakthrough in that industry. It's an inspiration to those that want to achieve that goal. So here it is, this person with Belizean heritage doing the most.
Congratulations to Cara. You, Cara Young.
Yes, but now, Paul, you know, there's so many things that are buzzing. We will continue to talk about them throughout the course of the week, and of course on our social media. But it is Monday, so you know what that means?
It's time for Eye on the News.
It is time for the Eye on the News.
All right, April, so there's several topics to touch on this morning, and we want to see if we could go through them in an efficient as possible manner. The first topic we want to touch on is the attempt on the life of Doris Grant. This name has become infamous among the Belizean discussions within the media for several reasons. The first time we heard of Doris Grant in the media was she was being hauled before a court of law on 40 counts of acquiring property by deception, theft, using social media or media or computer technology to acquire property by deception as well. Now, I just laid the background to suggest perhaps why this discussion has a level of relevance and importance to be discussed this morning. So that's Doris Grant. Apart from the fact also that several police raids have made the news, police raids at two of her homes, one of her homes in Gardenia Village, the initial police raid where authorities ransacked her house looking for God knows what, and then in the second raid took place at her Reggae Street home as well, where police also raided the yard and the house as well. Now she is being accused, and this is words basically from the Prime Minister's mouth and other relevant authorities, of swindling, and that's using the word lightly, certain Mennonites.
She set up a fake
over $1 million. A lot is happening now. This does not justify an attempt on an individual's life, but there's a level of sensationalism to the story. Doris Grant and Mr. Underwood were underway from a concert on Saturday night that was held right here in Belize City, when it appears as if while they were nearing their home, a couple of gunmen pounced on them and unleashed a hail of bullets in the direction of the vehicle they were driving. I understand that Miss Grant was hit to the shoulder, and the individual she was in the vehicle with was hit to the leg. There appeared to have been two other vehicles with them that the gunman also targeted, but no injuries were caused in that incident. There's speculations out there, April, and we're not basing on speculations right now, but there's speculations out there that this is much bigger than meet the eye, where this whole situation with Doris Grant is concerned, where these allegations are concerned. But it causes us to take a deeper look at the Lands Department and what's taking place in the Lands Department. And yes, last week we opened an entire can of worms with an interview with the Minister of Lands, that is Cordell Hyde, when questions was asked, for example, about Burhas, who was the victim of homicide. I believe that was last year. Now a lot is coming out, for example, with lands and situations in the Lands Department, and one begs the question, what's happening in the Lands Department, and is there a need for tighter structures and policies to be put in place?
You know, it's not just about the Lands Department, but it's also looking at all of the persons that are quote-unquote realtors.
Yes.
It's the persons that have land to sell. Normally when we are looking at for land, when we're looking for places to build, I don't know how much of a deep dive people do on the realtors.
Yes.
Right? I have a friend that had, well, he didn't get conned or swindled, but he went to see the land, the land that was supposed to be acquired. And then when he got the papers and everything, paid for everything, he realized that he paid for a land that wasn't the land he went to see. Right? So it's all of these different, all of these different strange ways that persons are coming up to sell land. And how do you do that?
And they're able to twist the hands of the system without being detected. Take, for example, the Borja case that the minister spoke about last week. Some 300 land transaction instruments. So he has a consultancy firm. And usually these consultancy firms are are engaged to do the background work. Fill out the paper, do the research on the land, make sure everything is clean, and in this case, also to finalize the payments to the lands department. So 300 land transactions instruments. He goes in there, he finalizes that, but 80% of them were incomplete. So there's a part of the land transaction instrument that requires some payment.
Yeah.
For example, stamp duties. And in what reports are that in one case, a couple paid, at least surrendered $54,000 for stamp duty payments, and that allegedly went to the consulting firm that does the background work to make that payment, and reports are that that payment was not made. And this is $54,000, one of 300 land transactions that was not completed. So with let me finish right here with 80% of those not completed, April. You times that 54,000 by 300, you get $16 million. Let's say we're being conservative and we split that by half. That's $8 million. Now, it goes back to your point. How is it that people who can just pop up one day and say, hey, I'm in real estate business, and they can go through the system seamlessly?
But this is why, and it goes right back to the initial conversation as to why Doris Grant is this infamous quote-unquote con woman that she's made out to be. And we're talking about these things, and I'm glad you laid all of that foundation, because when you're saying yes, there's absolutely no reason why anybody should have an attempt on their life. But are you hearing the amount of money you're talking about? When you're talking about dealing with other people's money and dealing with other people's land, and if you are investing $16 million into something, of course you're going to want to figure out what's going on. And now all of this news that is coming out as her name is being basically lit on fire, you're now thinking, I invested in that. I have my shares in that, and it's gone.
And not only
and it doesn't exist.
Right. So I don't have land titles anymore. I don't have claim to this property. So clearly, it's the wild, wild west in the lands department, and we've known this, but it's even more glaring now. Two things: there needs to be stiffer regulations within the real estate industry in order to, second, protect investors, because we're not only talking about small investors like yourself and myself that only wants a plot of land, but we're talking about million-dollar investors that are being targeted as well.
I mean, we've seen these kinds of things before, right? I believe there was another scandal a few years ago, not too far from like Silkgrass, with this large property, and it was technically supposed to be selling to all of these expats, but there was no land to begin with, and it was all of this. So we've seen this before. It's not new news, but now there has been an attempt on this woman's life.
And so this is one of those stories we'll continue to follow. It makes for a great in-depth investigative sort of story.
I want to know how you even acquire a realtor license. What all do you need to have? Do they have a license?
Right, so those are all conversations to be had. But April, we want to move over now to a story we did on Friday with regards to a bullying situation in Santa Cruz.
Okay.
This one took the nation by storm, because we've reported on bullying time and time again on several occasions. We know it takes place, especially within the primary school and high school. There have been legislation drafted against social media bullying. And last week we saw a video that was gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
A video of several young boys actually, in Santa Cruz village pouncing on an innocent individual within the village, and the young man in the blue shirt was assaulted by the young man in the red shirt, and we saw that he had his hands behind his back during the entire ordeal, as to say, I don't want to fight back. I don't want to be a part of this situation. Nonetheless, they pressed and persisted and pursued him. We've had opinions from several different individuals, including fathers, and they've all said that this is gut-wrenching.
Yeah.
They've all said that this is sad. We've also had opinions from the regular Belizeans saying that, oh, I would have fight back. Oh, we wouldn't have left that way, that there would have been consequences on my part. That speaks to the humility of this young man. And on Friday, I actually got to speak with him,
I saw your
even before the interview, and humility emanated from his personality and from his character. He did not shy away from the fact that he was bullied, but he did not seem to be ashamed of how this entire situation played out. And we have to say kudos to the authorities who took quick action and mediated the situation between all the families involved. This is one of those cases where mediation actually brought out a positive result for all involved. Positive relatively because some individuals are still asking for charges to be pressed against the families or the individuals who apparently went to threaten the family of the victim the night when the report was made. But two things happened here. First of all, the young men seen causing the bullying. Today they will be brought before a magistrate. They won't be facing any sort of jail time or sort of custodial sentencing, but they will, according to the Commissioner of Police, he will request that one, they take a visit to the Belize Central Prison to see what the life is like back there and where they could end up if they decide to continue down this path. And the second thing, he will request that they become a face of an national anti-bullying campaign. So it's a huge lesson for these young men, and reports are that also coming out of the mediation, the individuals that confronted the family the night of, that's on Thursday night, that they apologized.
Yeah. I am very surprised at this entire story, and I'll tell you why, Paul. We have all been a part of a bullying situation, whether we are the person filming the situation, a bystander, the person being bullied, or the bully itself. Everybody in society has played that role in one way or the other. So the fact that we are airing this story now in 2024, and there is now an act in order to mediate the situation, it's commendable. There has been a lot of people that have been reared in different ways because of bullying. We've seen cases in the United States where students come with guns because they're tired of being bullied, right? So we have seen the negative effects and impacts of this type of case. So for we now to take action, to have an act, to see how there is an anti-bullying campaign nationwide, it is commendable by the police department. But my question to everybody is, why do you feel the need to take out your rage and anger on an innocent individual? Yeah. What is happening at home? What is happening in your life that you feel like you have to do something like that? Yeah. When that innocent person, like you said, put his hand behind his back, was not being threatening, was not being violent in any kind of way, and became a victim of this act. What is happening in our society to cause these things, and what can we as citizens do about it?
April, there's many other things we could touch on this morning that we are keeping our eyes on that are newsworthy, but at this time, we got to wrap it up. I think our producer is telling us that we're wholly out of time for this segment. And so those are two important topics that we keep our eyes on, as well as many other topics that we will continue to flesh out in our newscast and throughout the news day. And so you can catch updates on these stories and more tonight at 6 p.m. on News 5 Live.
All right, Paul, it has been raining. Yeah. It has been raining non stop. And so, of course, we have to hear from the folks at the Meteorological Service about a weather update.
Good morning. Moist and unstable conditions will continue to support cloudy skies today and tonight. Some showers, thunderstorms, and periods of rain will continue to affect the country, especially central and northern areas. Showers, rain, and thunderstorms will decrease during Tuesday, but a few more will develop during the night, especially along the coast. Winds today along the coast and over the open seas will blow from the east and southeast at 10 to 20 knots with higher gusts. Moderate seas will become rough at times near heavy showers or thunderstorms and in large easterly swells. A small craft caution remains in effect. High tides will occur at 6:02 this morning and 7:40 tonight. Low tides follow at 1:39 this afternoon and 12:39 tomorrow morning. Temperatures this afternoon will peak at 81 Fahrenheit up in the Maya Mountains, 88 along the coast, and 94 inland. The moon will rise at 2:43 this afternoon and sunset is at 6:29 this evening. In the sargassum forecast, there is a medium chance that a few more sargassumas could affect coastal destinations during the coming days, and an excessive rainfall alert remains in effect for central and northern areas of the country. In the tropical weather outlook, a large area of disturbed weather over Central America, the Yucatan Peninsula, and adjacent waters now has a medium chance of becoming a tropical depression during the next couple of days. That's the latest from the Belize Weather Bureau. Do have a pleasant day.
We got that update from the Met Service, and just to give you a quick update from the Ministry of Education, Culture, Science and Technology, all classes in the Corozal and Orange Walk district for today are officially cancelled from all levels.
All classes
all
classes.
levels in the Corozal and Orange Walk districts have been suspended for today, 17th of June, due
All
to the
right.
weather.
Well, that's a great update. Thank you, April, for
Yes.
it.
So we are going to just jump right into our show for lineup for this morning, Paul. We have a jam-packed Monday, and our first segment we will be talking to the Public Service Union about their ongoing negotiations for the collective bargaining agreement.
And then our second conversation, we will be joined by representatives from the Belize National Met Service to give us an update about the rainfall and the weather in Belize.
And in our final conversation, we'll be joined by the Belize Olympics Commonwealth Association. And of course, we'll be talking about Olympic Day. As you know, we do have a Belizean that will be participating
Sean Gill.
in the Olympics this year. So of course, we got to get into all of that and more. We're going to take a quick break. And when we come back, we'll be talking to the PSU. Don't go away.
David Humes, this is Vanessa Humes. We own Ladyville Cool Spot. Belize Bank save us a lot of time. Working with them, we can keep track exactly what we spend. We recommend Belize Bank 100% because we don't have to go to stand up in line, and we can check on our account right from our house. Working with Belize Bank is the best.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad in the month of June. Visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Char-Broil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, Benny's.
13,835,700 eggs are eaten by tourists each year, fueling our thriving economy. Tourism means business.
Belize Electricity Limited is pleased to announce the holding of its 2023 Annual General Meeting at the Best Western Belize Biltmore Plaza, Mile 3.5 Philip Goldson Highway, Belize City, Belize, on Thursday, June 20, 2024, commencing at 7 p.m. For registration purposes, shareholders are advised to bring along a valid identification, such as a social security card. Shareholders who are unable to attend may choose, and we encourage you to exercise this right, to appoint your proxy, or you can simply appoint the company's CEO or the corporate secretary as your proxy to represent you at the AGM. Furthermore, the company will provide virtual access to the meeting. Shareholders or proxies can choose to participate virtually by visiting the company's website at www.bel.com.bz/AGM on the date and time of the meeting. Shareholders and proxies will be asked to provide their contact information along with an electronic copy of a valid identification. Pre-registration for virtual attendance commences on Monday, June 10, 2024 and closes at 5 p.m. on Wednesday, June 19, 2024. Shareholders may do so either by visiting the company's website at www.bel.com.bz/AGM or by contacting BEL's Securities Officer at 227-0954, extension 1512 for assistance.
Technology is ubiquitous, and it's transforming how, when, and where we work. Fulltech Systems is placing award-winning devices in the hands of information workers, allowing them to work without compromise in a world without wires, to innovate, create, and to maximize productivity anytime, anywhere, satisfying the needs of the desk-centric remote and field worker and every other worker in between. We are providing the industry's best devices to businesses going through the process of digital transformation. Partner with us today to provide the solutions that will allow your employees to work effectively and efficiently to enhance your customers' experience. Fulltech Systems, your technology center, where you'll come for the price but stay for the service.
Unwrap the joy of crystal clear picture and sound from Iowa, the brand that offers you affordability and exceptional quality. Iowa has a wide range of exceptional products to choose from, such as TVs, speakers, headphones, home appliances, and much more at affordable prices that won't break the bank. Enhance your audio-visual entertainment experience with Iowa, and for your convenience, parts are readily available in country for hassle-free maintenance. You can find Iowa products at your local electronics store countrywide. Choose Iowa, the best in home entertainment and household appliances.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers! We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning-fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
Welcome back to our Monday morning conversations. And joining us on set this morning, we have Mr. Dean Flowers, who's the president of the Public Service Union of Belize, as well as Ms. Sharon Fraser, who's the president of the Association for Public Service Senior Managers. Good morning to both of you.
Good morning.
And I believe at some point your colleague, Ms. Nadia Callis, who is the
will
president
join
of the
us.
Belize National Teachers Union, she'll join us on set to join in on this conversation. Now, one of the main reasons why we're here is because last week there was a signing, a very significant signing. Let's talk a bit about, for those who may not be aware, how we got to this point. What led to the signing of this CPA and the significance of this signing? You have 3 association union leaders being a part of this. It has to be huge.
Well, as I've been referred to as one of the senior members of that team, this whole process started in 2008, when in fact in December, proposals were submitted to the government of Belize to look at the terms and conditions of public officers and teachers. So that is where it originated from. And the whole thought was that in 3 years we would have finished that agreement.
That would have been after 2008. 3 years after 2008.
Yes.
Wow.
So that was in fact the initial positions that all parties had in this matter. Unfortunately, that didn't happen. Moving forward, in 2012, we signed a partial agreement. I must tell you that even in that partial agreement, it did not include, which was our proposal number 1, which was salary adjustment with cost of living, inflation rate. We had agreed on a 3-year adjustment.
Right.
I don't tell people it's increased because it wasn't an increase, it was an adjustment to deal with the normal everyday living so that partial agreement did not even include that.
Okay.
Right?
But why did they sign it nonetheless? Why was it signed nonetheless?
Well, these were proposals that we had no difficulty with agreeing to, so that the government and ourselves decided, you know what, let us sign off at least on these first set of proposals. You had more difficult ones. The salary adjustment, I must tell you, we went through hoops as far as that is concerned, because we had proposed 10%
Salary adjustment.
each year for 3 years. Government was saying, no, we can't do that. We were insisting that there must be a floor. They were insisting that there is a ceiling. Right? We never got the floor. Basically, it all depended on what was the outturn as far as from one financial year to the other, and based on at the end of the day, what they envisioned to be surplus, that is what we would have ended up getting. So the first year we got 6%, and that is because we had to go looking for it. I will tell you, you have officers like Dylan Renault and Carol Harrison. Sorry, Carol will kill me.
This is years and years of negotiations.
Having that senior moment, right? Yeah. So, thanks to public officers like them, they actually went into the government coffers and looked for the money so that we could have gotten increase. The following year, we got 8%, and the last year, we got 3%. In fact, I remember government was saying only 1% we could give you. Our team went in, and actually we found 3%. And actually that was the same year we had a major hurricane. And the position we had was a lot of public officers had lose their roof, they had whatever. So we actually wanted to give up that 3% to assist those persons. It didn't work out that way. And it's history, so I don't want to go into history. But that is where we were. There were a number of other proposals that were really difficult. And of course, the infamous proposal that would have taken us as long as we have is actually Proposal 22, which is in fact a special proposal from BNTU, right? We got to the point where we had to make sure that in fact we supported each other, because each association had special proposal. So it was all or none, so to speak. And at the end of the day, after about almost 3 ministers of education, definitely 2 prime ministers, 2 or 3 prime ministers, we finally were able to come to some agreement as far as Proposal 22.
It just seems that this collective bargaining agreement is so significant. And for some reason, for the better part of almost 15 years, it has been neglected in a way. Not to say that you guys haven't been back and forth with various administrations, but it just never really seems to get off the ground. Why is that?
Well, it's not, if you use the word neglected, but I wouldn't say neglected on our part.
Right.
Because we were, I remember taking the opportunity to learn Proposal 22, even though it did not affect me and my members, but I got to where I needed to learn it, so that when we went in the room, all of us were talking the same language and the same tune. Right? So that when there was a point when government wanted to have that proposal stand alone, so we could proceed. I'd want to say hundreds of times this negotiation was set for final signing, and it never happened. Simply because we refused to compromise as far as, let us look at this. We felt that if we let it go, then they might not have gotten what they wanted. There was the issue of, and I don't want to go into it because the president of BNTU is here, so can speak more clearly on that proposal since it was their proposal.
But before we get into, we want to welcome Ms. Nadia Callis, and she is the president of the Belize National Teachers Union. Good morning.
Good morning, guys.
But I do want to have Mr. Flores' input on the conversation, and then we get into Proposal 20.
Well, I think from my perspective, the importance of the signing has specifically to do not so much so with what we were able to achieve in that round of collective bargaining, but more so what we need to prepare for. I think that time has changed, and we now recognize the need for the public service to transform itself into a more modern public service to be able to deliver better quality public service. Our ability to do that will hinge on our ability to negotiate with the government to improve what needs to be improved within the public service, and that's service delivery. So for me, it's more about looking forward. I am pleased that we were able to close that long-standing negotiation, but for me, it's getting public officers now to participate actively in putting forward new proposals that will improve not only our terms of conditions of service, but more so service delivery to the Belizean people.
On one, I hear you out on the proposition that your ability to provide better service hinges on the level of negotiations. What do you make of the flip side, the conversation that your negotiations or your level or ability to negotiate or strength of your negotiation also hinges on the level of service that public servants are providing to Belizeans?
And I think, and that's a very good question, and I think that, again, government's ability to improve our terms and conditions of service sometimes has little to do with finance. It has little to do with finance. It has everything to do with political will and doing the right thing. And so what we need to tie is a lot of the processes in terms of how do we hold people accountable. You don't need any money to hold people accountable. You don't need a single cent to hold a CEO accountable. You don't need a single cent to hold an HOD accountable, and you don't need a single cent to hold a public officer accountable. But we have to have political will, and we have to have systems in place to be able to do that. And it goes back again to strengthening legislation and strengthening the Public Services Commission along with every other commission that is supposed to be independent to ensure that the public service function the way that it should. And so those are the areas that I'm looking at. Now, would public officers want better compensation? Of course. And I'm hoping that I can get into how we can improve that, and that will hinge on something that we weren't able to achieve in this past negotiation, which is tax reform. The government will never be able to provide quality public service if it doesn't have the requisite amount of funding to do that. And the government of Belize, whether red, blue, I'm not interested in the color. The government of Belize knows for a fact that they're leaving hundreds of millions of dollars on the table to their political financiers, and that impacts on their ability to negotiate better salary with us, as well as the provision of better public service. So, because if we're able to collect on those and effectively address those shortfalls, you and every member of the public will enjoy better public service, beginning with education, healthcare, the social programs. And so we have to be able to tie and make the linkages between improving the administrative structure of public service and the independence of those committees for the average man out there, so that the average man understand that we're not in this simply for better pay or higher pay. No, that's not what we're about. We're about ensuring that we do partner with the government to provide quality public service, but we have to be able to break this thing down to the common man out there so that they understand that if we reach an impasse going forward, it is not simply because of money. It's more important, how do we make the system better for all of us?
So what does the current CBA says to salary adjustments that has been a fight since the onset? Does it speak anything to that?
Well, yes, it would include it because it was, in fact, given based on a gentleman's agreement. There was no signature and no signing at the time that we got that 6, 8, and 3.
Okay.
So that this present CBA has to speak to that.
It just reflects what happened.
It reflects what happened then.
And nothing new in terms of an update.
No.
Would there have been any discussions about including?
Well, there isn't an update for that because we got the salary adjustment. Maybe not what we wanted, but we got it.
Okay.
Like I said, maybe not the percentage, but we got it. So there is no update. No, there are other proposals that we would have signed on to that requires update, right? And of course, some of those proposals include the very thing that President Dean is talking about in terms of performance appraisal, in terms of the recruitment policies. Those are things we agreed to. So in principle, government agreed that we need to be accountable.
But
all of us.
There are certain behaviors, not just in the public sector, but in any enterprise in Belize. We have a particular culture of just doing the bare minimum and not doing more than is required to have sustainability within an organization. For some reason or the other, this is something that I've encountered in my own workplace. It's something I've encountered in other workplaces. It is no new news that for some reason we will not do more than the bare minimum because we have the 8 to 5, we know to get paid this, we know to get paid that, or for whatever other reason. It is a cultural problem. So now,
Agreed.
how do we, or how do you all battle this within your own sectors to improve
And that is why I want to echo what President Dean said. It wasn't just about getting money, getting any adjustment. We also looked at how we treat the public, what is expected of us. We can't talk about we want increase in pay, but not increase in service, or capitalize in increasing. I have been to government departments, when you walk in there, nobody looks up. Nobody looks up. And I've said to myself, my God, so here I am, I'm fighting for you, increase for you, and you go into certain places. I'm not saying it's everywhere, you know. I've also been in other departments where the greeting is so warm and friendly.
Yeah.
But we want it to be that everywhere you go, people feel that in fact what they're getting, they're getting their worth. Because that is another problem. Getting their worth, and in getting their worth, they will give better service. It goes together.
I want to bring Ms. Callis into the conversation. Earlier we touched on proposal 22. You weren't on set as yet, but it appears, was that the proposal that held the negotiations hostage for a while?
I don't want to say we held hostage. We're joint.
You're joint.
That we work together.
Yes, but your colleagues clearly were on your side with this.
We appreciate that very much. I'm quite certain that the teachers at the secondary and tertiary level who are not a part of a government institution are very happy about what we did.
Tell us a bit about the proposal.
If you look at education in Belize, it's a partnership between government and some, I would say, the churches and some community schools. Not every single institution in this country is government. So those that are quasi-government, like majority of the tertiary level institutions and some secondary high schools, they were not given the same compensation as those underneath government high schools.
And when you say quasi-government, you mean there's a
It
collaboration?
means that government pays 70%, and then the community or the churches have to find 30%. And it has to do with salary, and then it has to do with their gratuity as well as their pension. What was happening is that some community schools and the churches, they were not living up to their agreement at all, their obligations. They would just renege on that 30%. So you have now our teachers retiring and not being able to collect that 30% of their gratuity, nor on their pension. And we consider that to be unfair because they were carrying out the same service as those in the government institutions. And we decided that, you know what, fair is fair. We got to do what we got to do for these members. Not only that, there was a comment passed about how they saved us, as in saving the BNTU. They did not save the BNTU. What we did actually help the managements who were not living up to their obligations, because it's actually management. Like I said, when we signed off on last week on Wednesday, a lot of teachers at that level were very happy, secondary and tertiary. They were happy because they now know going forward they have their 100% to collect.
So how was the matter resolved? Explain to us.
What government has done, and for us after looking at it carefully, it's timely to sign proposal 22. It's timely to give 100% because if you look at where we're going with pension, they're turning it into what you call contributory pension. So it's not like everything will fall on government going forward. The employee has a level of responsibility through his or her contributions. So I don't want people to think, oh, we put the whole 100% government. No, it's not that. We have been thinking, and we saw exactly what is on the horizon.
What is the significance? You said you signed it last week Wednesday, right? And this was in the years in the making. But it expires in August. So
it's a legally binding agreement, which means even though the contract expires at that time, the terms and conditions
remains in effect.
Exactly remains in effect.
Yes, so that's that. When it comes to the whole discussions of pension reform, was that a part of these negotiations, or was that solely off the table for now?
No. That is not it. That was not a part of these.
The CBA that was signed off on.
The negotiations that commenced in 2008. But I can say categorically, with absolute certainty,
that it will form part of our
new
new
negotiations.
Yes.
So let's talk a bit about
Yes.
some of what, and without letting too much of the cat out of the bag, some of what was not included here that will form a part of the new negotiations.
Well, firstly, the individual unions would have to get that mandate from their membership in terms of what are the items that we're supposed to include in a new proposal. From the PSU perspective, we have not commenced that exercise as yet. We are having conversations at the council level, but not at the membership level as yet in terms of, okay, what are some of the things that members, but I can tell you that what is being thrown out by members through their respective bench chairs is the issue of we have to seriously look at the issue of this pension reform. And it has to be fair, it has to be equitable, and when I say equitable, it means that it cannot be solely the responsibility of public sector workers to ensure that this reform works. This reform must be tied to tax reform. And the government is holding a position that any reform in tax must be tax neutral, and that is utter nonsense.
What do we mean by tax neutral for those who may not?
Meaning that if there will be breaks given to individual employees, whether public sector or private sector, let's say the income tax, the PAYE income tax is reduced. They're saying that we have to identify where that shortfall will come from. And they fail to continue, or they continue to pretend that they don't recognize that when they took office, over $500 million was identified in taxes owed. And there has been not a single attempt, in my humble opinion, to really close those loopholes. Now, there's a significant reform going on, of course, within the Belize Tax Services Department. There is now, again, secret, and this is the kind of bad faith behavior that I really cannot deal with sometimes. There's a secret conversation about a revenue authority. And even as I questioned the financial secretary about it, he refused to hold that conversation in a meeting that I held with him on a separate issue that concerned the Belize Tax Services Department. Now, that revenue authority, it could be good. It could be it could be a good thing. I'm not going to strike it down and say that's just one bad thing. No, it can be a good thing in terms of how you structure it, because our major revenue departments will be impacted, not only the tax department, but more so, and maybe first and foremost would be the customs department, where we know the leakages continue to be humongous, right? So the revenue authority may very well improve the efficiency of tax collection, but why is it always a secret when government attempts to address these deficiencies? And this is why you get pushed back, because they always believe that they do not. This is a partnership. We are the executors of your policy decision, and when you put in place these things without proper consultation so that we could understand how it works. So I know I strayed a bit from the specificity of your question, but in terms of the pension, definitely that will be a part of it.
My senses tell me that there isn't a large buy-in from public servants where pension reform and contributory pension is concerned. There seems to be this dilemma about taking more out of my pocket per se, or giving more towards this, when it's basically been the other way around for all my life.
The neutralizing, let me just say this quickly, the neutralizing effect will be our push for public sector salary reform. We've said that it cannot be that Sister Nadia, who has a degree in accounting, working in the Treasury Department, and I'm just using this as an example, not necessarily real life. She has an accounting degree, whether it's a master's or bachelor's, whatever the post calls for. She's within the Treasury Department carrying out functions, financial functions, such as perhaps whether it's payroll or something to that effect. I have the same qualification. I'm with the audit department, perhaps doing auditing, or perhaps doing reconciliations, something that she does in Treasury. She's on pay scale 23. I'm on pay scale 16. That's the nonsense that these politicians, and I'm not speaking of this administration, these politicians that we've elected since 1981 have caused in this public service. The anomalies are humongous, and there will be no pension reform until we could address proper public sector salary compensation reform.
And that is the reason why BNTU is 100% in agreement with what he just said. And I'm going to show you this from the angle of the TVET versus the VOTEC teachers within the high schools. But they're all TVET teachers. The teachers at the TVET institutions are paid differently and at a higher pay scale than those within the high school or the secondary school. What you find now is that these teachers, because they have an associate's degree, they stop at 0.4. While when you look at the TVET teachers in the TVET institutions, they are not given that. They don't get that. They don't stop at 0.4. And then after 2 years, they have this huge lump sum that they collect, while our teachers are stuck there for years. But if you look at they're both our teachers, let me say that please, because we do have members within the TVET institutions. But what bothers us the most is that the teachers within the secondary institutions, they are the backbone of engineering in this country, whether it's computer engineering, mechanical engineering, electrical engineering. And I like to talk about Sheena Queen Simpson at BL. You're familiar with her, right? She's from St. Gregory Medical College. There is Ashton Webster, BL, St. Gregory Medical College. There is Ivan Martinez, St. Gregory Medical College. They all came from the institution where I am currently the vice principal. Their teacher has an associate's degree in that field, while currently they hold masters, but they were the foundation. Did they do a bad job? Hell no. Look at what is happening with these individuals. Look at the mark that they're making in Belize today. And that's why if you looked at the handout that we gave out, when we look at that section, it is clear there for us. We said we did not deliberate or discuss anything, and those teachers were upset with us for that. So we had to ensure that that discussion was held with government, because we met with the chief and the CEO, for them to understand why that is very important. And because they're getting ready now to put into effect the MCCs and looking at the whole aspect of TVET institutions and the role of skill-based education and ensuring that people have entrepreneurial skills, we were told that we'll look at everything within that context. And I love that too. Because we need to have an economy or an education system that connects perfectly with the demand of today's society.
It's clear that we have to talk more about this.
But let me ask one final question, April. As we look forward to future negotiations, is there a different aura in the room under this current administration, a more positive aura
feeling
when compared to negotiations in the past, and do you believe that creates some level of hope among the joint union that we won't have to take another decade or two to reach another CBR signing, but we could get it done next year? The elections is next year as well. Perhaps that works in the favor of the joint unions.
Well, the Prime Minister said it won't take 16 years.
Okay.
If you've
already got the word.
He said that. So it would mean that we have to hold him to his word.
Yes.
Or any other person who goes there. I think maybe it might be that we didn't push hard enough for this to have taken this long. I don't know. Looking in retrospect, I'm thinking, my God, 16 years.
16 years.
Right? 16 years ago, I wasn't even thinking about retiring. Now I'm retired. So that it should never have been. You have members who were waiting for some of these proposals who have died, who have not gotten it. You asked about the future. I will tell you that one of the things we wanted and we fought, we came up with several proposals, was health insurance. Despite what they're saying about, they're offering primary care, that's all. Secondary and everything higher than that, one has to come up with. You have public officers who are working in conditions that are less than favorable. I can tell of my own experience where I worked in a building with molds for years. You don't know at the end of the day what is the consequences of having to be in that. So Not just that, there was a study that was done that talks about the amount of money government pay on sick leave, right?
If I may join you there, the same thing. If you looked at, and I want to speak to this because within our membership, our members are not happy about a statement that the PM made.
So
on
let's
Wednesday.
get the
I want to
brief.
because it's connected to
a concise version
but of course,
of
I'll give you that. He said that teachers and public officers willingly gave up their increment and allowed for 10% of their salaries to be cut. That was not done willingly. You can remember the demonstrations.
Yes.
So from a union perspective, we have to make that known. It was not done willingly. We were also given the government undertakings a whole list of promises. On that lies the health insurance. And the deadline that they put in that document for the health insurance has passed. And I'm hoping that at joint, we can actually look back at health insurance. Yes, I can tell you, being responsible for staff, the number of persons who are ill. So those are some of the things that we need. And I just wanted to bring clarity to that point, though. We did not willingly agree to give up anything. In the onset, though, COVID-19, we did not fight the freeze because we understood so many people were losing their jobs. We didn't fight it at all. But the other thing that happened to us, it was done against our will.
And again, we can continue this conversation a lot longer. You guys have to come back, maybe in August when it expires, you come back to have this conversation. But we want to say thank you all so much for joining us and for your contributions to the society. We hope that you get your dues sooner rather than later. With that, we got to take a quick break. And when we come back, we are going to get an update on the rainfall in Belize from the Belize Met Service. Don't go away.
This plan, I can't left this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan.
Upcoming enhancements to My Social Security. The new healthcare provider feature seamlessly connects healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers to facilitate the payment of sickness benefits. Here are the enhancements. Registered healthcare providers will create and submit online medical certificates using their healthcare provider accounts. Insured persons will receive a link to view the medical certificate to complete and submit their sickness benefit claim. And employers will receive an email notification of their employee's sickness claim. Also, the insured person and their employer will receive a copy of the claim decision letter after review. Healthcare providers, insured persons, and employers are encouraged to create a portal account to access and benefit from these new services on My Social Security at ssbportal.org.bz. My Social Security online portal. Social Security at your fingertips.
My name is Waluko Mejia. I'm the General Manager at Copal Tree Lodge here in Toledo, Belize. The Belize Bank service we appreciate most is the Belize Bank ATM and the use of its debit card. It makes it very accessible for our employees here at Copal Tree Lodge. Essentially, they could access the ATM on their way home after work, and also that the local stores accept the use of a debit card.
back to Open Your Eyes. Joining us for our second conversation, we've been talking about the drastic rainfall that has been hitting northern Belize. And joining us in studio is Miss Shanae Young, senior climatologist, to talk to us about the updates. What's going on? We just gone through a drought. Nobody get flooded out.
So, well, the rainy season, as you all know, has officially started since I think about the 7th of June. And since then, we have been getting continuous rains. The recent rains, however, are a result of the Central American gyre, which is a broad area of low pressure around Belize, Mexico, the southern part of Mexico, as well as Guatemala. And that has been supporting the increase of moisture instability over our area, which has resulted in showers, rain, but a lot of thunderstorms, which has contributed to the significant rainfall and flooding in some areas, but particularly so far in the northern parts of the country.
Let's break it down for a little bit. Broad area of low pressure. What are we talking about and how broad is this area?
So you see all the areas that are showing there with thunderstorm activity,
That's
right? The
the
bright
dark,
red,
bright, dark red, the gray.
Yes. That entire area, basically Belize, Yucatan Peninsula, Guatemala, that entire area is under a low pressure. So what is the low pressure? That's an area of instability. Whenever you hear high pressure, then you know it's always associated with dry weather, hot. Especially in terms of the winds, it normally supports like, you know, a dry southeasterly wind. But whenever there's an area of low pressure, the air is a lot moisture, there's a lot of convergence, which causes rise in motion, and you can have clouds. And especially since we have a lot of moisture around us, they're supporting showers and thunderstorm activity.
How much rain have we experienced over the last few days?
So before yesterday, when the north was flooding, I think it was near August Pine Ridge, they had received up to 6 inches of rainfall.
Wow.
That was yesterday. Since about 9 o'clock last night to 6 a.m. this morning, not as much, but it has shifted. It was more like central Belize, with Ayinha, near Ayinha farms. They have received about 3 to 4 inches of rainfall just then. So between yesterday and today, especially up north, about 6 to 8 inches, hence the reason why we have seen the flooding in those areas.
How does the Belize Met Service monitor the amount of rainfall that we get gradually, especially when it's coming at this particular speed and rate?
Yeah, one would want to know if you guys are out there with a ruler measuring
the barometer.
No, so we have several tools. One of them includes our observation network, which encompasses both manual, somebody physically going out measuring the rainfall in a measuring cylinder, but we also have several automatic weather stations across the country where we can see what is happening in all those locations in real time. So in the case of August Pine Ridge yesterday, we have a weather station in that area, hence the reason we were able to know that for yesterday they got 6 inches of rainfall almost instantly. It's available on our website. There's a map on the front page with some block dots. All those block dots indicates areas where we have a weather station across the country.
In your years of experience, is this level of rainfall common within the first half of June?
So typically whenever our rainy season starts, the first month, especially June, we normally get a boost. For different things, we could have tropical waves, in this case, the Central American gyre, but it always starts with a bang, and we have what we call the MAGA season, which is July to August, where there's a decrease, and then the secondary peak of the wet season, which is normally September, October. So we have a bimodal pattern, that is what it's called, where you have a high peak, then a slight decrease, and then a secondary peak, and then it tapers off at the end of the season.
What is the prediction so far for the amount of rainfall that will be taking place throughout the course of the week?
For this week, we actually, after today and tomorrow and about Wednesday, there's going to be a decrease. Most of the activity will be concentrated over the coast and mostly in the nighttime. But on Thursday and Friday, there's going to be another increase. That area of low pressure and the broad low that is currently going towards this southern Gulf of Mexico, that is likely to form a tropical depression or storm by middle of this week. And whenever it moves out of our area towards the west, it will pull up all that moisture over our area. And so on Thursday and Friday, we're going to expect another increase. And unfortunately, majority of the rainfall that is expected as that system forms and moves away from Belize is over the northern and central parts of the country.
So when a system forms, it basically pulls the moisture with it.
It depends on the direction where it's going. So like how this one is going to farm to the north of Belize, and it's going to move westward away from Belize. It's pulling up the moisture. So around this entire area, there's a lot of moisture. There's a lot of instability. On the surface chart that showed, I don't know if you saw 2 red lines, and it says monsoon trough. That is always, that is always associated with a lot of instability and moisture. So right now, typically, whenever Guatemala and those areas in Central America get a lot of flooding, it's enhanced by this line. Where do you see this line now? This line is directly over Belize, but not just over Belize, over the northern Belize, and hence the reason it has been supporting all those heavy thunderstorm activity between yesterday and today.
What is the prediction for the majority of the rainy season? And I'm asking this because the different forecasters have said it's going to be a
above average.
Above average rainy season because we had such a long withstanding drought and fire season.
So we have currently the rainy season split into 2 halves, right? The first part of the rainy season, which is June, July, August, and then the second half of the rainy season, September, October, November. The entire hurricane season is supposed to be above normal, but that doesn't necessarily mean that Belize is going to be impacted by a system. But for this first half of the season, it is going to be above normal. Typically, rainfall during these 3 months would be about 200 to 300 millimeters, so it can be more than that. Within the last 2 days, just the month of June alone has had more than 100 millimeters, almost 200. So that just tells you, like, what's expected for the rest of the this particular 3 months, which is June, July, and August. And currently, as of today, the secondary half of the wet season, September, October, November, is currently projected to be below normal, but that can change. Why is it showing that right now? We were currently in an El Nino, which is normally associated with drier conditions, but we're transitioning into a neutral phase, so anything can happen during that transition. But at the peak of the hurricane season, which is September, October, November, we're supposed to be in a La Nina phase. That normally supports a lot of rainfall, but at the moment, over Belize, not the rest of the Caribbean, it's showing below, but all the remaining parts of the Caribbean is showing above normal because La Nina is always associated with wet conditions. So we monitor every month, and that is updated for the next 3 months, the next 6 months, every month. It is available on our website, and persons are always encouraged to monitor because the weather is always changing. Right?
So just to recap, El Nino is more for the drier
In Belize.
season, and La Nina is more for the wet season.
So in 2020, if you can recall, we had a similar condition to now, right? The beginning parts of the year in the dry season was very dry. You had heat waves, a lot of heat waves. Like we had this year.
I don't remember because 2020 was all about COVID. So
I'm sure you remember flooding in the Belize River area, the 8 Mile. Yes. So we went from one extreme to the next, and this year is mirroring that same pattern. Hopefully it doesn't result in widespread flooding like that particular year, but currently that is the trend, especially for these 3 months.
So if this is the prediction and we're expecting all of this rainfall to be affecting Belize, preparation plans for people?
So ourselves, but also our colleagues at NEMO are always, not just in the hurricane season, but encouraging persons to be prepared. Yes, we know that during the hurricane season we get certain hazards such as excessive rainfall, flooding, but hazards occur year-round. They're just different types of hazards that occur at different periods. We have our heat season. People say that the dry season has ended, but the heat season has not ended. A lot of persons thought that with the rains, the heat would have disappeared. It's not as hot, but it's still hot, and with the additional moisture, it's very humid, so you're feeling even more uncomfortable than when it was 100 degrees Fahrenheit or more, because our heat season in Belize lasts from April up until October. So even though it's raining, the heat is not going away. It still will continue, especially for this year.
A couple of things, just going back quickly to the forecast for this week. If I'm not mistaken, you're saying that we may experience some relief, correct me if I'm wrong, middle of the week, but then the moisture increases again at the end of the week?
So the moisture has not decreased over the area. It will continue very moist and unstable. But what has been supporting the thunderstorms and the heavy rains is kind of shifting towards the west right now. And basically, whenever a system is developing, they tend to suck all the moisture. They pull everything up towards them. So as this low forms between now and Wednesday, that is what is going to happen. But whenever it forms, and then, you know, when a hurricane, there's always a band and it pulls up north, that is what is going to occur on Thursday and Friday as it moves away from Belize, and it's spinning in a cyclonic motion, anti-clockwise motion. It will be pulling up just like near Jamaica. You see how that band is there. Whenever it moves away, it will be pulling up all that moisture over us again. And with the instability that will be created from that system forming, it will just pull up all the moisture over our area on Thursday and Friday.
So as soon as the one that's currently above us right now moves away, we get a
You see
little bit
there's
of
a lot more at the end.
Yeah, so we get a little bit of a relief the Wednesday when all of that is
Tomorrow
cleared up,
and Wednesday.
and then that system that is above Jamaica right now is going to come through us.
It will merge with the low pressure that is forming in the southern
going to
Gulf.
bring more rain Thursday and Friday.
We're really getting a masterclass.
I
on
needed to
how these weather
understand.
systems work. But one of the things we notice with this time of the year is that when you look at forecasts, not only from the National Met Service, but if you pay attention to regional, international weather forecast, you're beginning to see a lot of tropical systems begin to come off the coast of Africa. How much does the National Met Service monitor these, and is it something that Belizeans should be on the edge of their seats when they begin to see 2, 3, 4 within weeks popping up?
On a normal year, on a normal wet season, we have to get our rainfall from somewhere. Yes, you have the regular process of cloud forming, and rain can happen at any given time. But those tropical waves, they're basically areas of instability. So when they come across and then they mix with the moisture and other stuff that's around our area, they tend to support shower activity. Basically, most of our rainfall that we get during the wet season is from tropical waves or surface troughs, or in some cases, tropical depression storms. Those are what contributes to our rainfall during the wet season. So we are always monitoring, with or without the wet season, whether or not something is happening. We operate 24 hours because anything can happen at any given time, and somebody has to always be there to warn the public, especially if it's going to have an impact on them.
So technically there is a necessary evil in these situations where rainfall is much needed, though it comes with some catastrophic characters in some cases. Well, a lot of Belizeans would say it has been a really dry season, and as a result, we could expect rains to be significantly higher this year. And they say because it may hot, it will rain hard, and that affects it. Because the discussion goes to climate change.
So because we had a drought, especially in northern parts of the country, whenever that occurs, the soil moisture is very low. The ground starts to crack. So we went from that, and then we have the rains. Normally, because the ground is so dry, the water can't percolate or go down into the soil gradually as it should. So that's why we have a lot of flooding right now, because the water is like constantly running off. It's
So
like
the ground.
So it's harder for the ground to absorb the moisture when it rains. If it's dry, it's like you have a concrete floor, you pour water fast, it will run off. If it was a gradual mix, like not as dry, but the water would have flowed easier into the soil, but because it was extremely dry, that has not been happening. And then the fires made it worse. That formed like a barrier over the soil, so the water isn't going in, it's running off, and hence we have all these flooding.
I am so glad you explained that, because I've been trying to figure out why the ground's still dry. Well, before the flooding, I was trying to figure out why the ground's still dry. I still dropping the croxine at the ground because and we've been having rain since June 7th. That makes so much sense now. So Dad, will answer your question. Because we were trying to figure out why it's just not soaked in properly. When it comes to the effects of climate change and more causes of flooding, we've been seeing these forest fires in the south. The rains are here. Can we expect any type of severe rainfall in the south?
Yes, typically the southern parts of the country is where we always get, most of our rainfall. And like I mentioned, I think last week or so, the Chief Hydrological Officer, Mrs. Hende, had mentioned that even landslides was possible in some of those areas. Why? Because the ground was very dry, and then it's dry and you have this sudden burst of moisture. It has to go somewhere, and in those areas they have hills, so that's why it run off even a lot quicker. So that's why the southern parts of the country normally gets the most rainfall, but because we had the recent fires there and their soil was very dry, it gave the a high chance of having flash floods, but also landslides in those areas.
So what have we seen in the south during this?
So since the last week, especially over this weekend, the south has not gotten much of the rainfall. I think the highest that I saw as of this morning was maybe like about an inch and a half. Majority of the rainfall activity was centered, like I mentioned before, over the central and northern parts of the country. So as of now, they have not gotten the most rainfall, but it's just the beginning of the wet season, and they're not going to continue into a drought. So that rainfall deficit that they currently are experiencing will change very shortly.
So are there still wildfires being monitored in the south?
So we have stopped issuing our fire forecast since the rain has started, and observations has actually showed that there's not as much fires around the country. So it has decreased significantly compared to just a few weeks ago. So it has definitely decreased.
All right, so let's talk a bit before we wrap up the conversation, April, about just a reminder about the projections for this year's hurricane season. The forecast, what is the long-term outlook for Belizeans to prepare mentally, and of course put their emergency plans in place?
So this year is forecasted to be a very active hurricane season, above normal hurricane season, And like I mentioned before, one of the reasons for that is us shifting into the La Nina, which typically supports the development of those storms. So we're urging persons to be prepared. Now is the perfect time to review your hurricane emergency plans and know what you would do in the event that we are threatened. Hopefully, we are not for this particular season, but it only takes one. And you can't wait until that one, because sometimes we might get maybe 2-3 days warning, but sometimes they can form right on our doorstep. So we always have to be prepared, and it's always important to continuously monitoring what's going on with the weather, but not just that, monitor and listen to what is occurring from the official sources, which is the National Meteorological Service as well as the National Emergency Management Organization, and in terms of flooding, the National Hydrological Service of Belize.
Until this week, there is no systems that's posing any sort of threat?
For Belize, no, only excess rainfall, which has started already, but like I mentioned, we're going to have a little break between tomorrow and Wednesday, and then Wednesday night into Thursday, the increase starts again, and we can continue to have flooding, especially in the northern and central parts of the country for this week.
Thank you, Shana. I just want to tell our people that we have tomorrow and Wednesday to get your umbrellas and your raincoats and your boots, if you have not purchased those items as yet, because once Thursday comes, we'll get our rains back again. Shania, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
You're welcome.
All right, we're going to take another quick break, and when we come back, it's all about the Belize Olympics Commonwealth Association. Stick around, we'll be right back.
My name is Leomar Langzert, and I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer. With these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time, do your research, and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
This plan, I can't leave this plan. Smart Belize!
Hey there, smart thinkers! We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
No, I can't leave this plan. I can't leave this plan.
I'm David Humes. This is Vanessa Humes. We only reveal cool spot. Belize Bank save us a lot of time. Working with them, we can keep track exactly what we spend. We recommend Belize Bank 100% because we don't have to go to stand up in line, and we can check on our account right from our house. Working with Belize Bank is the best.
Benny's is kicking off Father's Day with popping deals for dad. In the month of June, visit a Benny's near you and get store-wide discounts on selected items such as Milwaukee and Axie power tools, Charbroil barbecue grills, car care products, Karcher pressure washers, and much, much more. Make dad happy with popping deals for dad in June, only at Benny's.
Benny's, Benny's, oh, Benny's, Benny's. Benny's, Benny's.
13,835,700 eggs are eaten by tourists each year, fueling our thriving economy. Tourism means business.
Welcome back. This is our third and final conversation for this morning, and by no means the least of the important conversations we're having this morning. And it's all about the Belize Olympics Commonwealth Association and their upcoming Olympics Day. And we have joining us in studio Mr. Alan Sharp, who is the Secretary General of the Belize Olympics Commonwealth Association, as well as two young, youthful tennis table athletes.
Yes.
We have Ms. Soraya Martin, as well as Mr. George Spat.
Hello.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
It's a pleasure to have you all on this morning. Let's start with you, Mr. Sharp. Let's talk a bit about what the association has been up to.
Yes, well, obviously we're here today to speak about the Olympic Day. The main idea behind Olympic Day is this is the day when is celebrated as the day that the Olympic movement started, way back in the early 1900s. Wow. And it has grown. And so now this is the day that throughout the world, every country in the world celebrates and has activities for Olympic Day. In this case, for the past few years, we'll be having an event at the Marion Jones Sport Complex. We have our Olympic Day run, in which the athletes and non-athletes and wannabe athletes and just anybody that wants to move, right, gets to participate. And then that's like the highlight of the day. But in addition to that, we've invited, and most come of all the national federations. We have 19 national federations. Most of them come out that day and have an event that they or showcase their sport. So in the case of table tennis, they have a couple tents, they have tables. I'm sure the two very good young athletes will be there playing that day to show new athletes how to play, and that's for every sport.
Can you tell us, Saraya or George, can you tell us what table tennis is?
Table tennis is, you have to be determined and you have to have focus, and it's only you on the table, and you just have to move with the ball, and you have a racket in your hand.
So my opponent is the table?
No, your opponent is the person on the opposing side of the
table. George?
So basically, you have to have a lot of focus in the game, and it's basically, you're just on one table, but the table that you're on, you sweat a lot because you move a lot from side to side to try hitting the ball and try to conquer it over the next side.
Have strong arms?
Yeah.
How much practice do you have to put in, or how much practice would you say you put in on a weekly basis? Both of you, you first, George.
I go every day, 4 to 5:30, and on Saturdays we go to Swift Hall, which is 2 to 6 p.m., which we play with the older people.
Yeah, and for you, same thing.
What got you guys interested in table tennis?
For me, was my dad actually used to play it, and I got an option to come and play and practice, and I started to enjoy it.
Okay. George?
For me too. My dad used to be,
so you guys are legacies. Okay.
So basically, my dad almost became professional. He used to play with them, and now he got a little older and playing with the people that used to play a long time ago.
Yeah, legacy athletes.
Cool. So why would you encourage people to come out to Olympics Day, and what will you all be able to show or offer to people?
We could be showing the rules and how to play the game, and you could probably have a chance to play too.
Yeah.
If you guys come out.
Okay.
It's going to be a very good experience when I come and see how table tennis is, and see maybe that's an option or that I'll enjoy it.
Do you think a lot of people are interested in table tennis, people your age?
Yes.
Yes?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I mean, I know you had a tournament recently, and based on what I saw, there was a lot of participation.
There's 21 kids.
21 kids, right?
That is a lot of participation.
And you all basically had to play each other. Every kid had to play every kid that was there. No? Almost.
So how did it work?
Yeah.
It's basically eliminations round. It was a 6x6 chart.
Okay. Wow, that's interesting. And what was your performances in that? Like what was your ranking there? First?
Second.
So you need to beat his run. Okay.
So you're top two. How hard is it really to play?
If you focus and you're determined to try harder every day and not go down, you try keeping on top. And for people to know that losers just make excuses. Winners make solutions.
Yeah. So that's Soraya there on the screen. That's you, right? This was at the tournament.
Yes, this is at the
Okay,
tournament.
and you came in second place.
I came in second.
Yeah. Now, what does it take to perform at that level?
It takes motivation, skills, and dedication to the sport.
Yeah.
I'm very interested because
That's George.
Yeah, that's George.
Right there.
How do you gain points with
the
table
expression
tennis?
on your face.
Yeah,
My name is Leomar Langsert and I'm a teacher and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer, with these online that Belize Bank offered, is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time. Do your research and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
We apologize for that short intermission that we had to take, but we are back in. Mr. Sharp, you were talking about the run specifically for Olympics Day.
Yes, so the highlight of the day and of the whole celebration is the Olympic Day run. Registration starts at 8. It's the first run starts at 9. It's for everybody. We have categories for everybody, including you and I.
Okay.
Some people make it very competitive. They run for the medal. Some just walk.
And if you run like 2 minutes, that's like me. That's okay.
Yes. And it's very short. We've made it.
2 minutes now a lot. Kudos, because I never even run that.
Yep. And now they've made it. We've made it very short. So it's right at the Marian Jones complex. We start at the Olympic House, which is right at the corner of Princess Margaret Drive and the Marian Jones. And like I said, we have about 250 shirts we give away. For those, we also give away tickets for snacks and drinks. It's a great opportunity to Let's Move, which is the theme of the day. Let's Move, and it's to try and get everybody moving. In fact, there's even a part of the program in which we're trying to encourage anybody to submit videos of exercising and moving. And we're trying to invite everybody out. It's a day of fun. It's a day to be exposed to the sports. All the sports are out there, even some that people may want to join, rugby, all these different sports are out there, so please come out.
Is this day an opportunity for young athletes and upcoming athletes to network with different associations?
Of course. This is, the leaders of all the federations will be out there. So if you have heard about table tennis and want to join or even try it or know where to go, fencing, rugby, volleyball, basketball, football will be there. Everybody, all the federations will be out there. Sailing, karate, who always does a great job, will be there. So it's an excellent time to network. And like I said, the run is by category as well. So everybody gets a chance to run within their age. And it's not a race where we have to think we really got to win. Yes, there'll be those, especially in the Open and the Masters, that they go every year to win that medal. But it's also about the whole theme of the movement, which is let's move, let's get more active. Yeah. And there you can see on the screen the fencing.
I appreciate seeing all these disciplines together in one location, from table. Kids involved in karate, fencing, rugby. I saw some rugby there. It's all there. And canoeing.
Yes, canoe is there.
And our ambassador Michelle Kwan, who is an Olympic figure skater, was also there.
So the event is this weekend?
This weekend, the registration for the run starts at 8.
Starts at 8.
You got to get there early because the shirts are the shirts. When the shirts are done, they're done.
It's free registration?
It's free registration.
Free shirt?
Free shirt.
Why?
Free snack.
Free snacks?
Free snack, free drink.
Why?
So, and then the run starts at 9 with the first group. Okay. And then, like I said, that's short. And for example, the U10 group, all they do is run from the Olympic House to the roundabout in front of SGC and back.
So can I come to the Olympic Day even if I don't run?
Of course, of course, and then go and visit all the different booths, all the different events happening. You, your friends, your family might want to join something, and this is where you network.
How many associations total will be there?
We have 19 registered associations. They're all invited. There's a space allocated for each one. Last year, I think just about all, I think 17 of the 19 were there last year.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask George and Saraya to tell our viewers why they need to come out for Olympic Day.
Go ahead, George, you first.
To have fun and celebrate with your family, you can come out and show them the sports that you want to play, and you can encourage them from your family if you want to join or not. And it's a good time to have with your family.
Sorry. It's a good chance to come and see what you want to do, and to come as a family and to pick out a sport as hey, I want to join that sport, or I'm interested in that.
Yeah, it's definitely an event I'm interested in going, and perhaps even providing some coverage.
That would be wonderful.
Some sports coverage
Monday.
for. And who knows, I might just have to do a table tennis match against Saraya and George to see if I could take their titles.
Losers just have excuses.
Exactly.
So if you lose, I don't want to hear no excuses.
No excuses.
But guys, thank you so much for joining us this morning.
Thank you very
Olympic
much.
Day is June 23rd. Registration begins at 8 for the run that starts at 9 to take off, right? All right, we are going to take another short break. And when we come back, it's straight to wrap. Don't go away.
My name is Leomar Langsert, and I'm a teacher, and I bank with Belize Bank Independence Branch. What I enjoy is the safety features that the app offers. I have a sense of not having to worry or be concerned about somebody finding my password and username to sign in the application because of the use of the one-time password. And another feature that I love, that I use the most, is how the app synchronizes with my fingerprint on my device. I enjoy the rapid and easy, seamless process to apply for loans through the Belize Bank, and I don't have to be having too much back and forth to visit or take time to visit the bank. They also start to offer the online applications through the app for loan applications, which I believe is very neat. I would definitely recommend Belize Bank to other teachers because one of all the features and advantages that the app offer with these online that Belize Bank offered is basically everything that you can do in the palm of your hand. So I would definitely recommend the bank to other teachers.
Man, this weather will hold me back again. I really need our car.
Hey James, you look for a car?
Avery, yeah. Things would be so much easier if I had a car, but then I'd have to take out a loan, and I'm not sure if that's the right move, you know?
Yeah, I get that. Sometimes to achieve our goals, we need financial assistance. But it doesn't have to be scary. We can make informed choices.
What are your financial goals? A loan could help turn these aspirations into reality. But before you make that commitment, take a close look at your budget and carefully assess your income and expenses. Learn about the various types of loans and the potential impact on your financial future. Meet with someone who can guide you through the loan process, helping you understand the terms, interest rates, and repayment period. Finally, read the fine print. Make sure you are comfortable with the terms and conditions. The decision to take out a loan should be a well-informed one. Remember, knowledge is your greatest ally. Take your time. Do your research and make a choice that aligns with your aspirations and financial well-being.
Make informed choices.
A message from the Central Bank of Belize. Visit us at centralbank.org.bz. The Central Bank of Belize. People-focused, purpose-driven.
This plan, I can't left this plan. Smart Belize.
Hey there, smart thinkers. We're turbocharging your mobile experience with Smart's powered up postpaid plans. Imagine a world where your data speeds flows faster than ever. Well, guess what? We've cranked up the dial and unleashed the postpaid power of Smart's lightning fast LTE data on all our postpaid plans. That's right, no speed bumps, more data. It's like having a limitless highway of data speed at your fingertips. Whether you're a lone ranger with an individual plan or a squad rolling with a group plan, everyone gets to surf, stream, and share at enhanced, full, high-quality speed. Switch to Smart's powered-up postpaid plans today and ride the wave of postpaid power. Visit any Smart showroom or smart-bz.com for details and make your mobile experience smarter and faster. Smart, bringing people together.
I know I can't left this plan. I can't left this plan.
Welcome back to Open Your Eyes. We are wrapping up our Monday morning show, and we just want to say thank you to all of our guests for tuning in, and of course thank you to our viewers for tuning in as well. It is June 17th, and I would like to say a very happy birthday to my brother Jasher. He is 14 today.
Ooh.
Gosh, I feel and I even want to say how I feel. But happy birthday, Papa. I love you so much. I hope you have a wonderful day today. You are growing up so fast. He's taller than me already.
Wow.
And the voice changes, and I can't
Just
deal
gotta get used
with
to all of it.
I can't. I don't. Happy birthday, my love. Have a wonderful day. And if you have a birthday, happy birthday to you as well. Or if you have a birthday shout out or just a question or comment, you can drop us a line right here at oye@channel5belize.com. You can also catch our live stream every day on Facebook at Open Your Eyes BZ, and check out our highlights on Instagram at OYE Belize. And please do us a favor and join us again tomorrow when you open your
And
eyes.
start your morning right.
Be sure to keep your eyes, your minds,
And your hearts.
It's going to be a rainy day, Belize. Please stay dry. Please stay safe. Those in Orange Walk and Corozal, remember, classes have been suspended until further notice. See you soon, guys. Bye.
Human race. When the lights turning down, they don't know what they heard.
Open Your Eyes was brought to you by Smart, bringing people together, and the Belize Bank, our country, your bank.